Welcome back to the channel, everyone. It's Saturday night south of the border here in Mexico, or Mexico, whatever you want to call it. I don't care what you call it. However you pronounce it. It's south of the border, baby. And yeah, it's a interesting night. If I look a little bloated because I ate way too many tacos, we'll get into that. If I look a little tired, it's because, well, for the first time ever, while being down here in this country, I was woken up by automatic gunfire around 3 o'clock in the morning. So that was interesting. Kind of finally figured I was searching the news down here. Sometimes they don't like to put things in the news that upset people. At least like where you are, you won't hear about it. It won't be in the news. But if you're like, 2 cities away, they'll put it in the news so you can be like, so you got to track it down. It's really odd. It takes a while. So we'll get into that. But yeah, so automatic gunfire. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I know the difference between first of all, fireworks go around you don't need a reason to have fireworks here. At any given time, you can have fireworks. They sell them like you could sell candy at the corner store. You pick up whatever. But I'm talking massive fireworks. Massive. I know because, well, I bought my fair share and set off my fair share. Never mind the holidays. If you just feel like going outside. If I felt like it, I could just walk outside and just start throwing fireworks into the middle of the street and just popping them off. And that's really the way it is. It's everywhere I've been, that's the way it's been. So I know the difference because I've heard in 5 years down here, I've heard a ton of fireworks. So when I heard this, and I'm like, that's not fireworks, and it's about 3 miles away. I could tell I was estimating, and I was correct when I finally read the news story. It was about 3 miles away because it was 3 o'clock in the morning, and everything echoes throughout the city streets at 3 o'clock in the morning because there's very little traffic at that time. And so I finally tracked down the story. So but when it happened, my dog woke up. I woke up my wife because she sleeps like she could sleep through automatic gunfire. She could sleep through a dump truck running through the house. So I woke her up. I said, "There's gunfire down the road," and she's like, "Of course, she grew up in Mexico." She's like, "Yeah, so like, why'd you wake me up? Wake me up for something important?" Because she grew up here, so she probably not the first time. She's heard gunfire. Anyways, so we finally found a news story, and it just happened to be just something. It's one of those, you think to yourself, oh, what went down? You think all these like drugs and all this and whatnot. No, it wasn't anything like that. It was, there was a nightclub, a bar, nightclub, whatever. And some guy wanted to get in. The bouncer wouldn't let him in because he wasn't in the condition to get in. So the guy pulled out a weapon and started firing, killed the bouncer. And then there were 2 spurts of gunfire because then a few minutes later the police show up and there was more gunfire, and so the gunman is gone too. So yep, that was that. But that's I'm the kind of person that when you wake me up, no matter how tired I am, I'm up. If I'm up, I'm up. So I took a little bit of a nap today, and it's one of those Saturdays where I find myself alone. The wife went to go visit family, and so what does a gringo do when he's alone on a Saturday night in Mexico? He does what an American does. I sit around, I play video games, and I watch TV. I try to watch college football. Look, I'm originally from New England, so when you grow up in Massachusetts, college football is not really a big deal when you have Tom Brady for 20 years. You have the New England Patriots, so, people like, Then when I moved to Michigan, and I realized how big of a deal college football is to those people because, well, at the time they had the Detroit Lions, and, there was, it's a thing. It's a cultural thing in the Midwest and the South. I know that. I get it. Of course, I lived in Texas, so I get it even more. One of the first questions, by the way, you get asked if you move to Michigan, and I got asked this question. I didn't understand it. They said blue or green, and they were really serious about it. I'm like, well, what are you asking? My favorite color? And I'm like, I don't understand. Like Michigan or Michigan State. And of course, I had a grandfather who lived in Ohio, so I figured, near Ohio. So I said Ohio. People hated me from then on in. But anyways, so I don't really watch a lot of college football. Sometimes the soccer playoffs down here, the football is on. I'm a Cruz Azul fan, so I've been watching some of that stuff because they've been in the playoffs against Tijuana. But mostly playing video games and watching just YouTube and Netflix and just randomly surfing through stuff. So, and then like I said, that's people are like, is it different living that? No. If you're a middle-aged guy like me and your wife has left you for the day and it's just you and the dog and He's a little pissed off right now because he hates it when his mother's away. So if you hear him in there, he's in the room. He's just being pissy. Even though I fed you tacos. Be nice to me tonight. Anyways, what do you do? You do the same thing you do when you're in the United States. You sit around, you eat food you shouldn't eat. You watch TV, and you kind of whittle away the day. You post a video or two, but you did that. I posted a retro video this morning or this afternoon. This week's retro Christmas video is Jingle All the Way from 1996. So if you haven't seen that, it's a pretty funny movie. Donald Schwarzenegger Christmas. So I put up a little 6-minute recap and review. And I figured it was appropriate figuring it's the weekend of Black Friday. I don't like to do Uber Eats down here too much because it costs too much. The Uber Eats charges you a lot down here. So I walked about a half mile, not even quarter mile. Quarter mile is this place called Taquiera, Los Angeles. It's been around since like 1984. It's awesome. Best tacos I ever had in all of Mexico. I love these tacos. So I walked down there and I figured, I'm going to just buy a bunch of tacos and some queso fundido, which is basically just melted cheese with flour tortillas. It's delicious. Don't knock it till you try it. All it is basically cheese put in a bowl, put in an oven, melted till it's gooey, and you just pile it into a tortilla, wrap it up, and eat it. Anyways. So I figured it's me and the dog, and I might as well be nice to the dog because he's upset that his mother's away. So got about 10 tacos, 12 tacos, something like that. I'm stuffed. I'm like a bloated tick. I swear to God. It's a little bit of pollo, some chicken, some bistec steak. The dog, he likes his steak, some al pastor. He likes the cabeza, which is head, brain. I don't do the brain. Anyways. So, so Saturday night in Mexico, and it's pretty quiet. I mean, the holidays, malls are closed right now, so pretty quiet. People are out. But that's the thing is people are, this is a large city. It's like one of the larger cities in Mexico that I'm in right now. And people like to just go to their family's houses and hang out. That's what they do. It's like an all-month celebration. That's where my wife is at something right now that I just didn't feel like traveling to. And I was just didn't feel like traveling to. And it's fine. She does this all the time. She'll be back tomorrow. But yeah, that's what they do. They go, they sit, they have coffee and whatnot, and all sorts of stuff, and little pastries, and sometimes they have full-blown dinners. It's like that's one thing I never got used to as an American is like the 10 o'clock dinners. You sit down, you want a cup of coffee? Yeah, sure, I love coffee. I'll drink coffee whenever. I love coffee. It's the number one drug of choice. Now that it's the only drug of choice, really. But at 10 o'clock, you start putting tamales, fresh made tamales and chilaquiles and all sorts of, and enchiladas in front of me. And I'm just like, it's 10 o'clock at night. I don't think I should be eating this. I still eat it and I feel like crap afterwards, but I still eat it. Anyway, so what have I been watching? Well, it's actually, I didn't know this. I actually found this out today. The show I'm watching happens to be like the number one streaming show that's not like a current show in all of the United States. And let's go ahead and transition out of this. Let's see here, and boom. Here we go. Yeah. Streaming ratings. Lost hits number one among library series. That's what they call them, the library series, because, what had lost 2004 when it came out. And if you've known me and you've seen me or heard me talk before on live streams, video games, or talked about TV in general, you know that my two favorite shows are The West Wing and Lost, and probably not in that order. Lost is probably number one. I'm actually watching it again for, I think this would be like either the 9th or 10th time through. I just love it. I love it. I know there's a lot of critics about Lost, and there's a lot of animosity towards the ending, and there's a lot of animosity towards season 3, and kind of like, got a little janky there, and the time travel stuff. But here's the deal. The people who actually did the first 2 seasons, which I think are brilliant pieces of TV, they didn't want to do 6 seasons. The studio's like, no, we need 6. They're like, no, we only want to do 4. Maybe only 3. They wanted to wrap this thing up. They didn't want all this other extra. So they had to actually figure out a way to stretch it and do this. And I think it came out really well. Don't get me wrong. I do like the other seasons. Like I said, season 3, I got a problem with, like, especially the beginning. We'll get into that, but overall, it was the studios that saw all this ad revenue because it was getting massive ratings, and they didn't want to let those almighty dollars go. And yeah, every time I watch this show, and my wife's a big fan of it too, and I think I'm gonna have I had my kids start watching The West Wing, and they love that, especially the one that you'll see in a few weeks when he's on with me. But I'm going to have them start. I think I'm going to have my other son start watching Lost because he likes this kind of stuff, the mystery and all that. Intrigue, kind of clever writing, intelligent writing. But every time I watch it, no matter what, my wife and I have who's your favorite character? Who's your favorite cast member of Lost? Or she'll be like, who's your top three? Because it's so hard to pick like number one, right? If you're a fan of Lost. It's hard to pick one. Like that's my favorite. Because if I had to, if you put a gun in my head and said, who's your favorite? It's John Locke, right? It just hands down John Locke. Then I have to think about what they did to him at the end of season 5, and then what they did to his because he. Okay, wait a minute. So, spoiler alert here. We're going to talk about Lost. I'm going to get into some specifics as we talk about this because I want to talk about it. It aired in 2004. If you haven't caught up now, you can pause this stream and skip to the other stuff later when we get into a little bit more other items of pop culture and politics and things like that. Yeah, so ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Spoiler! So, at the end of season 5, when they take his character, they effectively end that character and then just use his body and make the actor be something different, and embody sort of the main antagonist or the overarching theme of antagonism within the series. I didn't like that. I thought no, I want John Locke. I didn't like the way his character arc ended. I think his character arc, because I didn't think there was any redemption there. So, but say la vie. I think my wife would tell you Saeed's her favorite, and I love Saeed, even though he does some rotten stuff in seasons 1 and 2 that make you go, oh man, I don't know if I can like this guy. But you do want to like the guy. By the way, Naveen Andrews, who plays Saeed, he's not Iraqi like he is in this. He's from Bollywood, India. I saw some things that he's in, just little clips of little movies from Bollywood. The dude can dance. Let me tell you something. The dude is friggin' one talented MFer when it comes to dancing and all that stuff. So, great actor. He can do all sorts of other things. So, I love Hurley. You see him right there. Hurley's an awesome character. Sawyer's an awesome character. And Josh Holloway, who plays Sawyer, he did a series called Colony later on. And it was just like that spot between pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, and they were trying to figure out what to do with the next season. And it's an excellent series. If you can find Colony, that's an excellent series that he did. Very creative, I thought. Just saying kind of like anxiety, kind of like whodunit and mystery and sci-fi all rolled up. So awesome job. He produced it and started it and helped create the whole thing. But then and so they were kind of in that transitional phase, like what to do with the show with the next season. And then I think everything just kind of fell apart and we never got a next season of Colony, which I was just like, God damn, because I was so into that show. But anyways, back to Lost. A lot of people love Kate, Evangeline Lilly's character. It was funny. There's a story where she had gotten a part and the United States would not give her a work visa. So it's like the day before she's supposed to be in, because she's Canadian. So it's like the day before she's supposed to be in Hawaii to start shooting, she still hasn't got a work visa. So she's going to lose the role. Like they need her there the next day. They've got something ready to go right away if she doesn't show up. But she's the choice. She's the person they want. And they finally did. And she flew in and like immediately had to step off the plane and just go right into character and go into it. But it's probably one of the most expensive. It may still be the most expensive pilot ever shot. Michael Keaton was supposed to play Jack instead of Matthew Fox, and Jack was supposed to die in the first episode, the pilot, but they didn't. But since they were going to keep Jack on, Michael Keaton said, "I don't want to commit to a series." So that would have been interesting to see Michael Keaton play that role. Would have been very interesting. So if I have to say, definitely Locke is is one of my favorite. Michael Emerson, who plays Ben. Then there's another case of this show. His character, when he was introduced, was only supposed to be for about 4 or 5 episodes, but he killed it. He's such a great character. The audience loved him, and the feedback the studios got. Well, they had to change the story to create that story, that actor, or that character, and his storyline throughout. And so I think Ben is also up there, one of my favorites. If I've got a favorite season, damn, I'd have to say season 2. I really like season 5 as well. Because I think they start to try something different, try something new, try to, really discover different things with the characters and the writing. The idea that they have to write so much more for a story they didn't anticipate being that long, I think it forces them to try to be creative in ways that they never thought of. So, that creative problem solving sometimes, and they didn't phone it in. They said, well, we've got a really good group, a really good audience out there that's really faithful and loyal and loves the stuff. And so they didn't want to phone it in. So they did their best with it. So I do like season 5. But yeah, it's hit number 1. It's hit number 1 trade, which doesn't surprise me. It has, I think it was over 1 billion. Let me see if I can. Let me just find it. Yeah, there it is. Viewing of Lost on Hulu and Netflix hit a high that week, or October 21 and 27. Excuse me. There's the tacos and the avocado salsa. Ooh. Finishing first among all acquired series with 1.03 billion minutes of viewing time in the United States, according to Nielsen. So, there you go. The former ABC series, which marked the 20th anniversary of its premiere in September, ranked second among its titles. Wow. So, awesome. So if you're looking for something to watch and you want something new and you never seen Lost or you want to revisit it, now's as good a time as any because there really isn't much on. The Penguin's over. Dune Prophecy is a dud. I just don't. I'm not even going to review it because I don't want to. I'll only, like I said before, I only review things that I'll watch. And since it's a series, since I decided I'm not going to watch the whole thing, it's that bad that I just don't want to. I'm not going to bother to review it. It's very disappointing. We got the Star Wars series coming up, the one with the little kids. And there's all sorts of people on the internet complaining about this series in both ways, which I don't understand. But anyways, some people saying, "Don't you dare make fun of the kids in their acting," and I'm like, "Who's making fun of the kids in the acting? I've not seen any of that." So it's sort of like they're preempting. It's like a preemptive strike. Like, don't you dare make fun of this show. I'm like, oh, well, but if it sucks, right? Sorry that no one's going after kids. Well, I hope no one's going after kids. But if the show is written poorly and produced poorly, then that's reality. Kids or no kids. So if you're looking for something to watch, definitely Lost. Couldn't recommend it enough. And then when you're done with Lost, whether you're a Republican or Democrat, The West Wing is awesome. It may be some of the best writing in all of television history. It's just incredibly awesome. So I would recommend both those shows to anybody. So with that, a little bit of fun. I'm sticking with the fun here before we get to World War III because that's a thing now. Scientists are baffled by orcas wearing dead salmon as hats. This is a real article, folks. It's from Futurism. It's a real science article. Like I was like, am I reading this correctly? Orcas like to swim around underwater or on top of water with dead salmon sitting on top of their heads like a hat. Sounds kind of psychopathic. Like if you saw someone riding around with a dead animal on top of their head like a hat, you'd think there's something wrong with that person. So I think this, the orcas who have been, attacking yachts off of Spain because they're pissed off because the yachts are there and the boats are there. Literally, the orcas are actually they see a boat, some family or group of people out there having a good time on a boat. Well, the boat's in their way, and the boats are hurting them because, the rudders and all that stuff, and they hit them, and the orcas get hurt. So the orcas are pissed off. They've learned to hate the boats, so they ram into the boats and sink the boats and sometimes really harm the people. So, but now, orcas have decided to take it a step forward. a step further, and they're going to wear dead fish as hats, which is kind of frightening to think about. Like the orcas actually thinking about that, and they don't know why. There we go. You've probably heard all about orcas' daring feats like sinking yachts, but are you aware that they can be quite dashing too? Again, the article's trying to be cute because there's no way to explain this type of psychopathic behavior in a whale. Yep, it appears that these snazzy cetaceans are fond of wearing hats in the form of dead salmon on their snouts and sometimes other fish. First observed in 1987, which I'd never heard of this before. So if you've heard about this before, let me know in the comment section. The morbid fashion trend quickly came and went like so many questionable choices in dress, but like baggy trousers, it appears to be back in style again. Again, this is a real science article, folks. We wonder why global warming is nuts. The New Scientist reports photographers have spotted killer whales donning salmon hats off the coast of the Pacific Northwest, reigniting debate about why orcas exhibit this puzzling behavior. So if you're up in Seattle, you see some orcas, let me know. Get a picture of that. An orca wearing a dead fish for a hat. Quote, honestly, your guess is as good as mine, end quote. Deborah Giles, the science and research director at the nonprofit Wild Orca, told New Scientist. So if this lady doesn't know, nobody knows. This is literally the lady is the director, she's the science and research director of the nonprofit dedicated to orcas. If she don't know, ain't nobody know. We saw one with a fish on its head, she described. So that was fun. I would have been terrified. This thing is a psychotic animal. It's been a while since I've personally seen it. So obviously she's seen it before. Excuse me, I need a drink of water. Those tacos can be salty. Ooh. Don't tell my wife. As New Scientist notes, only West Coast orcas appear to favor dressing this way. East Coasters, it seems, are either too cool or too démodé to bother. Oh, so it's a West Coast thing. West Side, all right. It's a West Coast thing. Only the West Coast orcas are psychos. Because orcas can live up to 90 years, it's possible that it's the same trendsetter from nearly 4 decades ago, or its acolytes. Now we're getting really deep into this right now. That's reviving the salmon hats. Who knew that orcas had fashion icons of their own? Wow. Quote, it does seem possible that some individuals that experienced the behavior the first time around may have started it again. Andrew Foote, an evolutionary ecologist at the University of Oslo, Norway, told New Scientist. Okay, so they have fashion trends with dead animals. Again, I mean, last week we had the dolphin that screams into the ocean at nothing because he's lost his mind. Fish are starting to lose their mind. Mammals, I guess, because it's a whale and a dolphin, right? Mammals, they're starting to lose their mind, just like humans in the United States and everywhere else. They're starting to lose it. I don't know whether it's all the toxins we pumped into the ocean. They've been swallowing too much plastic. They've had to dodge too many boats, too much oil and grease in the water. I don't know. Maybe they've just had it. Like we've had, many people in the United States and around the world, they say, we've had it. That's it. We're done. Done with the bullshit. We're just going to be who we are, and that's it. So that's who they are. So that dolphins screaming into the ocean at nothing, and orcas wearing dead animals for fashion. We've seen mammal-eating killer whales carry large chunks of food under their pectoral fin, kind of tucked in next to their body. Well, that means he's just carrying his lunch. Either way, it's a testament to the intelligence of the creatures, which are social to such an almost primate degree that they develop their own cultures. It's this cultural bent and the trends that come with it that's believed to be responsible for how orcas not only began attacking human vessels, but learned how to immobilize and even sink them. So they're evolving. The whales are evolving into intelligent animals that are going to rise up against us. First, they're going to wear dead things. The one day we're going to see one of them wearing a dead human. One of them is going to attack the yacht, sink the yacht, get the human, kill it, and then wear it as a hat. Be a human hat on an orca, and he's just going to swim up and down the coast of Oregon scaring the shit out of everybody. And he's gonna be happy as an orca wearing a human hat. So yes, this is a real science article, folks. No real picture that is obviously photoshopped. But I'd have to think that's photoshopped, but no real picture. There you go. So yeah. So what else is fun today? Oh, yep. We're going to get into some pop culture. We're going to get into some, talked about streaming. We talked about nature. You know, I always love throwing in some weird nature, but, Sharon Stone thinks you Americans are idiots. You're stupid. You're uneducated. You're dumb. You know why? Because you don't travel. Well, someone should inform Sharon Stone, because she's not smart enough to know this, is that 99% of the Americans out there, whether they voted for Trump or not, don't have the money to travel the way that she gets to travel, because she's rich and lucky and got to star in movies where she showed her hooch. And really, that's why Sharon Stone is famous. Let's just, I know they nominated her for an Oscar for Casino. It wasn't that great of a performance, folks. I've seen Casino a million times. She got famous for one reason only. She got really naked, showed her hooch on camera. That's why. She's like the precursor to OnlyFans. There you go. Good for her. If that's the way you want to make your money, that don't make her smarter than you. Don't make her better. So Sharon Stone says Trump won because Americans don't travel and are uneducated. Keep them away from your daughters, your wives, and your girlfriends. Okay, that is Sharon Stone and what she thinks of the American public that voted for Trump, or what happened. No offense. Can I speak? Speaking as an American who's traveled to 12 foreign countries, is married to a foreigner, currently lives in a foreign country, teaches English as a second language to foreigners of multiple different languages, was an English teacher, so I'm pretty educated. I have a postgraduate degree in political science, so I'm pretty educated. I voted for Trump. So fuck you, Sharon Stone. Okay? Just thought we'd throw that out there. That just really pissed me off. I hate it when people call people uneducated for no reason. They think they're better. So it's just more of the Hollywood meltdown. More of it. And then to go along with that, woo! Yep, I like to read my Cosmopolitan. Or Cosmo, or whatever. By the way, no crap. For some reason, Cosmo comes up in my feed all the time. So I called my son. I said, hey, why the hell does this thing keep suggesting articles from Cosmo for me? Like, I've never clicked on it before till now. Now I've clicked on it. It's going to get freaking Cosmo everywhere. And it's some of the lewdest stuff. It's like, I don't think I can talk about it here. It's like highly, like it's out there. It's a little risky. It's actually very risky. So I called my son. I said, why? And he goes, I keep getting this stuff too. And I said to him, you know what? We should make a YouTube channel where it's just two guys reading stuff from Cosmo going, what the? I think that would be interesting, but maybe you let me know. Anyway, so Miss Rachel Zegler decided to give an interview because she hasn't said enough already. She's currently starring in Romeo and Juliet on Broadway. And after her whole posting of stuff from Trump. So, here we go. What's your favorite thing about, what's the channel? Okay. So the interviewer says here, you got effing canceled. No, she didn't get canceled. She canceled herself by opening her mouth and being an idiot. And for calling 77 million people sick, and for wishing no peace on 77 million people, on the president-elect and the people who support him. Anyways, and she says, for being brown, for having brown skin, for playing Snow White. No, that's again, so the people who don't like her and don't support her movie, you're racists. Again, and this is why I love saying, as a husband of 23 years to a brown woman, father to brown children, I would like to tell you, Rachel, we don't like you because you are a bad person. That's all. It's not that you have bad views. You can say, hey, I don't like this and I don't like that and I support this and I support that. But when you start hating on other people, you're a bad person. So it's got nothing to do with the color of your skin, but that's what you want to hide behind because that's the narrative you want to spin. But it's because she's brown. And it goes on. There was a lot of harassment from a certain group of people. This is where, and then here, they were showing up at my apartment and screaming profanities. Has anybody seen any video of this or heard of any police records? I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying I'd like to see evidence before things like this are given truth. I don't think this, personally, if you ask me, I don't think that occurred. Because if that occurred, any normal person, and again, maybe she's not normal, if there were people that were outside my house for any reason whatsoever, screaming and yelling profanities at me or at my house, or at anybody who lived in my house, or basically in the building in which I live in, and it wasn't even me they were yelling at, they were just yelling at the building and the general direction of the building, I would first get my camera and say, honey, film this, or record this on your phone. The next thing I would do is call the police, and there would be a police report, because, that's a problem, right? So obviously no one should show up at anybody's house and yell anything at them for any reason. I shouldn't say that for any reason. There's always a reason to do something. But anyways, 99% of the time, you shouldn't be doing this for any reason. But, yeah, supposedly this happened to her, or at least she says it happened to her. And, again, where are the receipts? I don't see the receipts. But you don't like her, and you don't want to, if you don't watch Snow White, it's because you don't like brown people. Are you a racist? Do you hate brown people? Let me know. Because it's not really why Snow White's going to fail. Snow White's going to fail because it looks terrible. It's helmed by, it's acted in by its leading actresses, obviously someone who is not nice or not someone that people want to support. And that's why that film is not going to make any money. And that's why I won't even review it. At this point, I won't review it. If my wife says she wants to go see Snow White, then I'll take her to see Snow White. It's the only reason I would go see Snow White. And then I'll review it. But for at this point in time, no, thank you. So Sharon Stone thinks you're dumb. Rachel Zegler thinks you're a racist, or you don't like brown people. Man, it's not a good day out there for regular, ordinary American citizens. Just totally horrible people. Horrible. You're horrible. Horrible. You're horrible people. Horrible. Woo. And then, speaking of movies, I'm looking forward to this movie. I like Aaron Taylor Johnson. I like Kraven the Hunter as a character. I know it doesn't have Spider-Man in it. I know, I can hear you. I hear you. It doesn't have Spider-Man in it. I hear you. Why make a Spider-Man universe movie without Spider-Man in it? I don't know. Why make a Batman movie without Batman in it? They did it with the Joker. Right? I know they had Bruce Wayne as a little boy and they made him smile and all that. Okay, I get it. Still, there was no Batman. Okay? They made a whole series called Gotham. Batman didn't show up until the last 10 seconds of the final season. The final show of the final season. That show was all right. Wasn't perfect, but it was all right. Actually, that was entertaining. I did enjoy watching it. It's on HBO if you want to watch that. That was fun. Revisit that. But this film is tracking. Well, it's hitting theaters on December 13th, and I think it's going to hit here December 12th. So I'll be able to see it hopefully. Sony is not promoting this film at all. They're throwing zero amounts of dollars into this film, or very minimal amounts of dollars into this film to market it. What do they know that we don't? I don't know. Are they seeing the social media? But there's a lot of negativity around this movie just because it's a Spider-Man. It's like, it's the Madam Web universe. All right. It's Sony trying to build a Spider-Man universe, going about it all the wrong way. I get it. But still, this could be interesting. See Kraven the Hunter. Imagine that. You know, maybe they're building up something. Maybe they're building up to a Spider-Man movie with Spider-Man. And now they can bring in Venom. And now they can bring in Kraven the Hunter. That would be cool. I think that would be cool if they did it right. So I do want to see this movie. I don't wish any ill will on it, but it's not tracking very well. It's It's not tracking very well at all. And I want to see if I can find the exact quote. Yeah. Considering Craving the Hunter actually looks like a good movie, it's disappointing that the film is on track to somehow make less than Morbius at the box office during its opening weekend, but we can't say we're surprised. Sony hasn't exactly been promoting the film, and it doesn't help that the film is coming out just weeks after three of this fall's biggest movies opened in theaters with the release of Wicked, Gladiator 2, and Moana 2, which we're going to talk about in a second, all of which have gotten heavy promotional campaigns. It also doesn't help that Sony hasn't exactly had the best track record with its recent live-action Marvel films, with the Spider-Man and Venom films standing out as the sole hits for the studio, as this is enough to scare off some moviegoers. Now, again, you've heard me say this before, when Venom: The Last Dance was getting ready to come out, people were crapping all over that. And they were saying the same exact thing about that movie that they're saying about Craven. Why would I see a movie in the Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man? Okay? Because it's fucking entertaining. It's a great character from the comic books. Somehow it's going to eventually make its way there. Enjoy the ride. And so the movie came out and it didn't blow people away. It didn't fall off a cliff. But it actually had legs and it made it into the top 10. It's over $400 million worldwide. So it's in that it might be top 7 grossing films of the entire year. I could check again, but now with the recent box office moves, with newer things coming out, we'll see. So that had legs. It found an audience. It was great. Definitely an international audience. It definitely performed more internationally than it did within the United States. And again, that's a rarity. If you don't win in the US, you usually don't win. That's just the way it is. If it's a major Hollywood production. If it's a major Hollywood movie, if you don't win in the US, you don't win. Most of the time. So I think Craven is going to have really big international numbers. It's going to be ultra violent, which is interesting for a December release. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Because you're always thinking holidays, and this one, they really, the first Deadpool came out on Valentine's Day. That was ultra violent. You don't think about, hey, honey, it's date night, it's Valentine's Day. Let's go see Deadpool and gore and blood. And it did gangbusters, so, maybe it's me. Changing tastes, changing generations, what can I say? So it might do well. Speaking of Wicked, Gladiator 2, and Moana 2, first of all, it's funny. Last week I saw all these videos on YouTube. Again, from a lot of people that I like watching and respect and have a lot of fun and I'm entertained by their stuff. But to come out and after Red 1 came out, it said, The Rock is not a movie star. And it was like, okay. Then he has Moana 2 and it has one of the biggest openings ever for December or November for Thanksgiving weekend, whatever. It's made so much damn money in 2 days, 3 days. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous amount of money. It's almost $200 million. And that's a Rock movie. But I don't see them coming back and saying, The Rock is a movie star. Again, maybe because it's animated. I don't know. All I know is that he's in it. And he was in the first one. He's in the second one. That's what it is. So maybe he is a movie star. Everybody has lulls, right? I mean, Michael Keaton had a lull. He's a movie star again. Gladiator 2 still doing strong. I think it just got beat out. I think it's running 16th overall for the year, box office. It's doing great, over 300 million. Wicked 2 just surpassed it because it's domestic box office. But here's the thing. Wicked's international box office has stagnated. So I'm not sure. I really thought this was going to be one of those films that makes $1 billion. It could still make $1 billion. Could still make that, top 3, top 4 of the year. But as I look at the numbers day by day, they don't seem to be tracking internationally as well as it needs to get to where it needs to be. Because sooner or later, American audiences are fickle. I'm sorry, we are. We just are. And that's okay. Because we want the next best thing. Look, a movie comes out one week, it goes, and we love it. It's got, and it may have legs, it may make money. Inside Out 2, Deadpool, Wolverine, because that had a lot of international stuff going on too. But American audiences are fickle. You know, you see one movie one week. Oh, wait, the new thing came out this week. Oh, we're going to go see that now. You're not going to go, if you got a choice between seeing the new thing or the thing you already saw. Now, again, rare exceptions. Star Wars, I saw over and over and over and over again. The original Empire, Return of the Jedi, I had my parents take me there multiple times. The prequels, I went and saw multiple times on my own. The Dark Knight, saw it multiple times on my own, no matter what was new coming out. But those are rarities. Those are rarities, and we all know they're rarities. So, do I think it's going to make it? It's going to be interesting. But I think Kraven is the Hunter's going to have a big international box office, big enough to make its money back, big enough to make it a hit. We'll see. But it's amazing how Sony's already given up on the film. Now, have they seen the film and said to themselves, wow, this sucks? I mean, it's got Russell Crowe in it, Aaron Taylor Johnson. It's ultra violent. It's a somewhat popular character. I mean, if you're a comic book reader, then it's a popular character or somewhat popular villain in the Spider-Man universe. But, maybe Sony's seen this film and said, hey, you know what? We don't want to put any money into marketing this thing. Which tells you something right off the bat. I'll still see it. Still go out and support it. So, if I can, because the world might end. Apparently. Because of this jackass. Who's he? This is the president of the German Federal Intelligence Agency, the BND, and I will try to pronounce the name of the BND when it comes down to it. This is Bruno Kahl. And you know what? I always like we're going to switch a little pop culture to politics because, you know what? This guy's out of his mind. There's no way that the next president of the United States is going to allow any of this to happen. But the Russian acts of sabotage may lead NATO to invoke Article 5, says German intel chief. Okay. There's a lot of problems with that initial title, that initial headline right there. Russian acts of sabotage. What exactly are they sabotaging? If you talk about the Nord Stream pipeline from a couple of years ago, that was us. Anyways, it wasn't the Russians. They didn't sabotage their own pipeline. I love it. The Russian pipeline blew up. Who did it? The Russians. Why would they blow up their own pipeline? Don't make any sense. Anyways. Now, are they involved in some fuckery? Yeah, sure, of course they are. So Russian acts of sabotage. Never mind what the Chinese are doing. We'll talk about that in a second. Because the Chinese are just playing, we're going to screw with you in every which way. And they really are in Europe. It's actually, I was laughing. I was like, wow. I mean, to just do that, you just got to be like, I don't care. You're just trying to provoke something. Anyways, so Russian acts of sabotage, which may lead NATO invoking. Now, if you don't know what Article 5 is, Article 5 of the NATO Charter, when the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, for those that are not initiated, I'm perfectly aware that some people don't give a crap to put that information in their head and keep it. So the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, basically most of Western Europe and the United States, Canada, they have this organization that was supposed to, during the Cold War, combat the Warsaw Pact of the Russians and their people. Article 5 that says, if one of these nations is attacked, then all of them respond in some fashion or way. It doesn't really, it's not as specific as you think it should be. It's called the Mutual Defense Clause. The only time it's ever been enacted was after 9/11. Anyways, so this guy, the German, who I really don't want to, here's my thing. I don't want to take instruction. I don't want to take advice. I don't want the point person on World War III to be anyone from the frickin' country that started the first two world wars. All right? So please tell Bruno Kahl, sit down, shut up. Because, as far as I'm concerned, Germany, you are not allowed to make this decision. Now, Germany's Foreign Agency Service, where's the name of it? And again, I'm going to butcher this. I'm going to do it on purpose because it's funny, because there's no way I'm pronouncing it. Speaking at an event of the DGAP think tank in Berlin on Wednesday, Bundesnachrichtendienst This friggin' word. Whatever. Bundesnachrichtendienst. Chief Bruno Kahl said he expected Moscow to further step up its hybrid warfare. The extensive use of hybrid measures by Russia increases the risk that NATO will eventually consider invoking its Article 5 mutual defense clause. No, it won't. Sit down, Bruno. At the same time, the increasing ramp-up of the Russian military potential means a direct military confrontation with NATO becomes one possible option for the Kremlin. Listen, folks, if it was NATO versus Russia, it wouldn't even be a contest. It's just not even a contest. Okay, so number one. So he's not doing that. Under Article 5, if a NATO member comes under attack, the other members of the alliance are obliged to help it respond. Okay, there's a reason why we shouldn't be in NATO anymore. Trump doesn't want to be in NATO anymore. I don't think he said that in his first term. He doesn't want to be in NATO anymore. First of all, we pay for all their defense. I mean, they've been paying a little bit when under his first administration. He got them to pay. People are like, oh, and my son who lives in a NATO country, says, well, the reason why they have free healthcare, the reason why they have this great education, the reason they have this, the reason they have that, they don't have to spend any money in defense because we spend it for them. So, time to pitch in. Hostile activities across the Euro-Atlantic area, ranging from repeated cyber attacks to Moscow-linked arson. What the hell is Moscow-linked arson? Some guy from Moscow walked over the border with a Molotov cocktail, threw it, and it's like, now we're in World War III? Come on. The frig. I can't wait for all this crap to end. Come January 20th. So Germany wants World War III because they're really good at starting those. And it's been a while, so, they're probably feeling a little forgotten, feeling a little left out. Robin Williams before Robin Williams died, he used to tell a great story about Germany. He says he was on a German talk show, and the host asked him, said to Robin Williams, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, I would say one of the greatest comedians of all time, one of my favorites. The host asked Robin Williams, says, why do you think Germany's not very good at comedy? And Robin Williams quickly responded, did you ever think you might have killed all the funny people? And he was referring to all the Jewish people that they killed. And to me, he's right, so these guys have no sense of humor. Everything they say is pretty darn serious. I never heard of a German humorist. So this isn't a joke. Yep, World War III. And then our friend Putin, by the way, since we're talking about World War III, he says he does not believe Trump is safe after the assassination attempts. And he's, he's probably, what does he know that we don't? Anyways, I saved that article just to have it there. Anyways, whew, telling you. We're going to end today with this idiot. I don't know if this is my jerk of the week or just guy I can't stand or reason why I lose faith in humanity. This is Justin's son. You see him here. He's a Chinese-born cryptocurrency entrepreneur. And he has followed through on his promise to eat the banana from a $6.2 million artwork he bought last week. Now, if you don't know about this piece of art, it's very famous over the last few years. It was done by an Italian artist. It's a fucking banana duct taped to a wall. That's what it is. And the art also comes with installation instructions, so when the banana rots, they can just redo it the way it was. How long should the tape be? What angle should the tape be at? What angle the banana, size of the banana, shape of the... So this guy spent $6.2 million to buy that piece of art. So not only did he get the rotting fruit on the wall, but he got the instruction booklets and basically the rights to that. So whenever anybody uses that piece of art, they owe him money. But he decided to be a dick about it because he outbid 6 others at a Sotheby's auction house and show off how rich he is. Because $6.2 million couldn't have been worth something else worthwhile in the world. So he ate the fruit during a news conference in Hong Kong where he used a moment to draw parallels between the artwork and cryptocurrency. What those parallels are? Okay, the banana is regularly replaced before expeditions, with Mr. Sun buying the right to display the installation along with a guide on how to replace the fruit. Let's see here. What are the similarities? It's much better than other bananas, he said. What a dick. It's just there's people like this. Like, really? That's really... First of all, why is a banana taped to a wall worth $6.2 million? Why? Why is that art? I mean, I love literature. I paint. Believe me, there's plenty of times I painted and I said, wow, that sucks. That just looks terrible. Like, I have an idea of what I don't know, art is in the eye of the beholder. Whatnot. Sometimes art just modern art is just not there anymore. But what does it mean? Cryptocurrency and what? There's nothing. Everyone has a banana to eat, Mr. Sun said. Okay. All right, here we go. Mr. Sun runs the Tron blockchain network, a service where users can trade in cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrencies are digital currencies that are... Okay, maybe that isn't. Mr. Sun compared the artwork and other abstract pieces like it to NFTs. These non-fungible tokens are pieces of digital artwork that have no intrinsic value, no kidding, other than the prescribed by people. NFTs can be traded on platforms like Mr. Sun's. Last year, he was charged by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission for offering and selling unregistered security tokens. Great. Mr. Sun denies the charges and the case is ongoing. I wonder why he's living in Hong Kong instead of the United States anymore. Oh, but he's a Trump fan, so there you go. This week, Mr. Sun disclosed he made a $30 million investment in a crypto project backed by U.S. President-elect Donald Trump. Okay. Rich get richer, babe. Rich get richer. So I figured, okay, so if you have $6.2 million, you can buy a banana and eat it too, with duct tape on it. Oh, what a world, what a world, what a world. Let's get back to where we are. Boom. How we doing? So that's Saturday night. So everyone's thinking, hey, what do you do on a Saturday night in Mexico? You watch Lost. You play video games. What am I playing right now? Playing Skull and Bones. I'm going to stream some Skull and Bones in a little bit. I love Skull and Bones. Although it's been acting really janky since the update. I'm thinking about getting Diablo 4. I love Diablo 3. I play Diablo 3 over and over and over and over again. I love Diablo 3. I just haven't pulled the trigger on Diablo 4. Just because, $80 for a game is just sometimes you only get so many $80 games in you for the year before your wife looks at you funny and be like, really? It's like, all right. So I was playing something. I was playing Max Payne. If you know what Max Payne, you can stream it on PlayStation Store or PlayStation Plus if you've got it. It's an old PlayStation 2 game where you just go around shooting people. You're an undercover cop, and it's a great story. It's really a great story. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I mean, it's really dated when you watch. I mean, talk about hexagonal, whatever the word. You know what I'm trying to say. It's vintage. It's retro, but still, it's fun to just run through a door, holding dual Berettas and just blasting away at things. It's great. You can have some fun with no monsters, just gangsters. New York City at night in the middle of a snowstorm, blizzard, really. Mobsters, all that fun stuff. Russian mob, Italian mob. It's a great time. So I've been playing that, but I think I'm going to play Skull and Bones tonight and stream some Skull and Bones, just kind of chit chat. So that's where I'll be in a little bit. And after I take care of Caesar, you little cranky. If you haven't heard, he's just basically been destroying the things over there. He goes through phases. I don't know if anybody out there's got a dog and they know what these phases are. First of all, phase 1, when his mother goes away, is he gets anxious and needy. Okay? Starts whimpering a little bit, like a little... You know what I'm going to call you. You know what I was going to call you, Caesar. Anyway, so he starts whimpering. So I kind of try to take care of it. The guy whimpering stops. Then he realizes his mom ain't coming home. Now he's angry. Thinks like she's just left him, right? You know, even though he doesn't like to go out, but still thinks she just wants her here. So then he starts clawing at carpets and clawing at doors, and then he likes to go over to, if there's like a little waste paper basket, he likes to take all the trash out and throw it all over the floor for me to pick up later. Yeah, so he just starts getting, and then he just lies there in a huff. So I got to take care of him before I start streaming, because I'm a good dog dad. All right, I'm a good dog dad. Which, by the way, if you like dogs, we'll talk about dogs in Mexico sooner rather than later, probably in an upcoming stream. But something you got to think about if you come to Mexico. If you're a dog lover, you got to be prepared for a few things. But anyways, I got to go take care of Caesar. So that's it. That was the stuff, pop culture and politics from south of the border, things that have been interesting to watch, interesting to see, interesting to keep on my mind. But yeah, I'll see you on Skull and Bones in a little bit, or let's see what else. Maybe I'll stream some MLB. I don't know. I haven't played MLB in a little bit, but I think I'm going to go back to being a pirate because Gringo pirate, Mexican Gringo, American pirate. So, but with that, I'm still your reluctant Gringo. I will see y'all next week, and check out the video I posted on Jingle All the Way, and also Larfleeze. Got a lot of good comments about Larfleeze and his. If you don't know who Larfleeze is, then you're not a comic book fan. Larfleeze is the Orange Lantern. If you know what a Green Lantern is, there's multiple colors. He's an Orange Lantern. Orange means greed. Well, he discovers Christmas and gets pissed off because Santa Claus don't bring him nothing. So anyways, I posted a whole video on that. I got a lot of really good feedback on that. I really appreciate that. People enjoyed that one. So check out those videos. And from south of the border, I'm still your reluctant Gringo. I'm going to go work off these tacos with a little bit of Skull and Bones. Till next time, salud, a huevo. And for this month, Feliz Navidad, everybody. So I hope everybody's enjoying their holiday weekend, getting ready for the next one. All right, we out.